ASAH dudes, that's right, it's back. The only thing I'm going to say is that there's way more support in the last video than I thought there would be. But in today's video, we're going to be working on the bug. Jerry is due for some much needed upgrades. I've been neglecting this thing for a little bit. So we have a few parts today, and let's hop over to the list to check out what we got to do. Take a little walk past the tube chassis pre-runner. If you guys aren't caught up on the videos on this truck, you're definitely missing out. Christian's been putting a lot of time and effort into them, and putting out a lot of good information to learn from. So the last video on that is on the sway bar, so go check that out. But this isn't what today's video is on. We're working on the bug, so let's go over here to Wings Hardware. You guys have seen this before, all our nuts and bolts, but we're not focused on that either. Here's the list. We have it for all the builds. We have it for the 92 F1 build, the VD crew cab, which is the tube chassis pre-runner, and then we got 64 Jerry as well. So I'm just going to read everything off just to give you guys an idea of what we got to get done. First, we're going to replace the window seals. After that, we're going to replace the steering bushing, get rid of some of the slop. Then we have to bolt check the steering and suspension, because if we're taking this thing to the dirt, I do not want anything coming off. And then we also have to replace the rear engine seal. Somebody left a little tip on that in the last video, so I just ordered one. I'm going to put it on. And then we have to clear the tires a little bit more just in the front. And then after that, we're going to let her rip, chip. So let's go look at the parts table to see what we got. So I got everything neatly organized on the table here. On the left, we have all of our window seals for the car. This is for the windshield, the rear window, and the quarter windows. The only ones we're going to be doing today is the quarter windows, and the reason for that is because, let's hop in here, see if I can do this with one hand. Watch this. Yeah, they move around quite a bit in there. So it's like that on both sides. When I'm driving, you can actually hear it and it rattles. So if I take this thing in the dirt, I do not want to lose my rear window. I'd rather not do that. So we're going to replace those seals. I'm not going to do this rear one. It looks to be in good shape. And if I take it out, I don't want to have to deal with not being able to get one back in because of some rust. Jerry's got some character, so we're just going to leave that be. Front one, I'm going to have to do at some point, but I'm not going to do it until I get the new windshield because it has a crack in it. So we're just going to not do that one right now either. That one's not shaking at all either. It's just these quarter windows that are being an issue. So that's why we're doing the quarter window seals. We also, here's the steering bushing I was talking about. The reason I'm doing this is because I don't think the one on here has ever been replaced within its life, so probably not since '64. And I don't want to lose steering. I don't have faith in these bushings. That's why we got rid of the bushing setup on this truck and just ran it all solid. So I'm just replacing that as kind of a reassurance that we're not going to lose steering, because I don't want to do that today. And then here's just the rear engine seal. That's going to go right back here. It'll go right back here. I'm pretty sure it just attaches onto this or on the actual body itself, but you can see our old one not in good shape. There's a big gap there, so we're going to be replacing that today as well. We have quite a bit to do on today's agenda, so I'm just going to get right at it, starting with these quarter windows. The process for actually removing them, as far as I'm aware, is just getting a razor blade and cutting out the back side of the seal, and then the whole window should pop out. So that's what we're going to have to get started with. The rubber I did buy, there's two styles you can do. One is the cow style and one is the American style. This is the American style, and all that means is that it still runs these chrome strips. So I got fresh ones of those as well. So it's all going to be dialed and fresh when we put it back in the car. So I'm going to get a razor blade and we're going to try and get those windows out right now. I just started cutting along this bottom side of the seal right here, and as you can tell, things are already starting to pop off. This window seal is super brittle, just breaks apart. So it definitely needs to get replaced. I'm going to take the screwdriver right here and try and pop this last piece off, and then this front piece, I'm going to try and actually just pop the window out. Just like that, there's one. Like to say just like that, but these things didn't go that simple. I've spent probably the last 4 or 5 hours just trying to get these windows in. The seals that I had from J-Bugs, they were just crappy China made seals that didn't work. So what I ended up doing is going down to V parts down here, and I got these seals, which are the cow style, but honestly I don't even care. They still look really good and they fit perfect. These seals, if you're wondering, are made by West Coast Metric and they work perfectly. So If you're going to be getting seals to try and do this yourself, definitely get the West Coast metric seals. They'll save you a ton of time. Spent 4 to 5 hours with the other seals, and these ones went in 15 minutes, like way simpler. So what we had to do to actually get these in is first we got the seal on the window, and then we set it in there. Just put soapy water around the outside, and then from there what we did is we had a piece of like weed whacker string on the inside of this, and as we had it in there on the inside, we started pulling the string, and that just pulled the seal over all the way, and we just went up consistently, and the thing eventually just popped into place. And then I went back, because in some spots it could be folded over a little bit and it won't be flapped out like that. So to get it like this, what I used was a little dental pick and just went back in there and pulled the edge over, and everything fits perfect. So I'm super happy with these. I would have liked to not have spent half the day doing this, but unfortunately that's how it goes sometimes when you're still trying to do stuff for the first time. I've never pulled a window out of a car. So it was definitely a learning experience, but glad we got that dealt with. Now what I'm gonna do is pull the bug forward, or actually I'll just leave it right here. Get the tires off of it. I'm gonna do one side at a time, nut and bolt check everything, and on the front I'm just gonna hammer the actual fender out a little bit to clearance it for the tire. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'll probably rotate the tires at the same time since I haven't done that yet. And yeah, it's been an adventure, but let's keep going. Started getting ready to tear off this wheel, and I just wanted to mention this tool real quick. I mentioned it in the last video if you saw it, but this is just a Milwaukee Stubby impact. These things rip. They have a ton of power. All my lug bolts on this car are torqued to 110 foot-pounds, and watch this. If I can even get the thing on there. Just 110 foot-pounds just buzzed off like that. Ton of power in this little thing, so if you guys are looking for a good impact, these are definitely a good choice for you. The car is completely on jack stands. I got both the wheels off of there. Now I'm going to move on to actually nut and bolt checking everything. Probably going to start up front up here and just double check all the steering and the suspension, make sure we got nothing loose. I don't want to be in the dirt and lose steering or something to a loose bolt, so just good idea to double check everything, give myself that reassurance that the car's actually going to stay together. So we're going to do that, and then as you can see, the tire's been rubbing a little bit right there, and I'm sure it's rubbing on the inside of this lip too, so I'm probably going to just tap this lip in a little bit. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. This car probably or definitely needs a lift spindle, so that may happen in the future, but for now we're going to keep it low and just try and work out all the problems. So nut and bolt check right now. Let's go. Everything on the car is now nice and tight. There were no bolts or anything that were super loose, so that was good. Just a few needed to get snugged up, so we're all clear now. Off camera, I actually went through and double checked all the bolts on the fenders as well, so we're good there. And then I also, on the drum brakes, I've never adjusted these before, so I did that as well. So hopefully this car should have better brakes now. And then up front, where it was rubbing, I went through with just a little hammer and just slightly tapped it, so hopefully we don't clear there, or hopefully we don't rub there anymore, we actually clear. So we'll have to check that tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm actually going to be doing the other side of the car. I don't really have the time today. I have to go to work, so I'm going to do that side in the morning. I'm just going to wrap this side up now and we'll be done for the day. So we'll get back at it in the morning. We'll get that side dealt with, and we'll get the bushing for the steering all dealt with as well. Alright, next day getting into the swing of things. Just got back from the parts store. Got some hose clamps, as you can see. That's going to be for the fuel lines up front, which I'll show you in a second, but just wanted to mention my daily driver since a lot of you have asked me what I have besides the bug. So just a 96 F1, pretty stock, not much done to it. If you guys want to have like details on that, just comment down below. I can answer that question. But for the most part, it's just a stock truck. So on the bug today, what we have going, as you can see, I already have the tires off on this side. I've gotten to work on the front, and if you can see up into here, so as you can see, there's not any hose clamps on the fuel line going from the tank to the hard line. So I just spotted that. I don't know why I ever didn't do that, so that's why I got those hose clamps, so we can just wrap that up and get that all sealed up. You can also see the steering bushing right here. It's kind of hard to access on this side. A lot of people, from what I've seen, have actually taken out the gas tank, since that's what that is right there, and had way better access to it. So I'm probably honestly not going to do the actual bushing right now, just for that reason, because it'd take a super long time to do from here. And if you can tell, it looks like it's in pretty good condition, so I'm not too worried about that. all the bolts have actual pins through them, so they're all held snug, so there's no way that any of those are going to come off. It'd have to rip through that pin and then unspin all the way, so I don't think that's going to happen, so that's safe to me. But this side of the car is going to be pretty much the same as the other side. Just going to have to bolt check everything, adjust the drum brakes, and then actually just clear everything out a little bit. That's going to be it, and I'll get it all wrapped up. After that, we'll deal with some engine stuff real quick, and then go for a rip and see if this thing rubs at all. So I got the majority of the car back together, and then I just started tearing stuff apart again. But right now I'm working on the motor area. What the problem is with this motor right now is I drive it for a little bit, and once everything gets warmed up, it doesn't want to idle. No, it's not the idle jet, so I wasn't really curious what the problem is, and I still really don't know. But one of my guesses was that rear pan seal, or the rear engine seal. So that's what I'm replacing right now. To actually get the old one out, it took quite a bit of work. I ended up using just a hammer and a flathead screwdriver, and kind of banging it out of the track, because there's a little track right here. So I took it all out and kind of just cleaned everything up. I'm gonna have to go back through and kind of bend back some of the track because it is messed up in certain parts. So that's what I'm working on right now. Also, on the actual tin, I took it out just to make things easier. But there's another hole, maybe one of you can cue in if you know what this is for. It's this guy right here. This is for the actual hose that goes to the heater box. But this, I'm not sure what this is. So what I'm gonna do with this, since that's another point for like exhaust heat to come up through, is I filed it out a little bit, and I'm actually gonna put this in there, this little cap. So I just filed it out so that fits. So bam, that's in now. So that seal, or that hole, is all sealed up now with a little nice chrome piece. It's actually just an end cap for a tube. So that's gonna work perfect. But right now I'm gonna throw you guys up on a time lapse, and I'm gonna try and get this rear engine seal up in there. Just went ahead and got that seal all positioned in the car. Let's check it out real quick. If you go in here, you can see we have a nice solid seal. It's in the track everywhere. But if you did see me cut it, a few of you guys might have cringed a little bit when you saw that, because if you know how the seal is supposed to be in there, in a perfect world, you know that it's supposed to keep going around and around. Let me get it a little bit brighter for you guys. Keeps going around and around all the way to the front. But there's no way I can do that because I have to chip out the old seal, which is super brittle and stuck in there. Getting to all these points back in here would be super difficult and take probably hours. So if I ever pull the motor out of this thing, or when I pull the motor out of this thing, I'll probably end up just doing the whole rear engine seal and the front. But for now, this is way better than it was before. I could stick my whole hand in here because there's no seal. So this is going to do us just good. The gap over here isn't even too bad, so there's not going to be that much exhaust heat coming up through here. And that's the whole point of this seal, is to prevent gas heat or exhaust heat from coming up and getting into the motor, because then these things don't run right. So I think that's part of my problem. That's why I said this was the solution. But yeah, she's all in there. I'm going to get the tin back in there. And then I'm also going to check just some of these bolts, make sure everything is tight. All set. Alright guys, we're in the neighborhood where we filmed the video with Ryan's truck hitting the bumps. Just brought you back here since you're familiar with it, so you can kind of get an idea of how the bug takes bumps. I'm not gonna lie, I did drive this thing a little bit before filming this, and it does rub a little bit, but the car overall is running a lot better. The brakes are a lot better than they were. When you press on the brakes on this thing, it actually stops like on a dime now. Give you an idea on speed as well. Hopefully you can get an idea. I don't really film with the GoPro that much. So the speedometer is a little off. This says 20. Here's the first bump right here. Probably doing around 25 to 30. So she rubs a little bit. I'm gonna have to clear the front a little bit more. Again, this car really, it honestly needs a lift spindle. I don't know if I'll ever be able to clear it enough at this height. Look at these brakes though. So the other big bump over here is this one coming up. This one's a little bit more fair. Let's see how this goes. Sounded worse than it was. We were probably doing around 25 to 30 there as well. It only rubbed in the rear. I didn't hear it in the front. So that's pretty good. That one's a little bit more fair because the other one is an actual big dip. Most trucks at speed would probably hit bump on that anyways. But that last one's a little bit more realistic and it handled it a lot better. Alright guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I'm super curious to see how that GoPro footage turned out. Comment down below what other angles you want to see. If you want to see a rear window mount, a chest mount, or something in the front. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. But if you like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.